Welcome back to CBS Soap Dish Recap, where we recap everything CBS soaps, both the young and the restless, and the bold and the beautiful. And this is your bold and the beautiful recap for August 10th, 2022. And look like this episode, we got a lot of loving in the afternoon from both SINN and LOPE. And then we have Ridge and Taylor trying to figure out what to do with everything that happened in Monaco. But before we jump into this recap, take a second to make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you can receive all updates, and don't forget to like and share. So let's talk about this. So we're at the Cliff House where we see Taylor just confessed to Steffy about that whole kiss in Monaco. Of course, Steffy was happy, especially when she's been trying to push this together with her parents and them locking lips on this trip. Now she's wondering what that means for Taylor and Ridge's relationship. Now, on this episode, Taylor admits that she's not entirely sure. Of course not, because Ridge is in the middle. Ridge is still married to Brooke and living at her house. So part of Taylor is kind of hesitant to get her hopes up too high. And at the same time, though, Taylor keeps talking about how anything is possible. Okay, she's not helping herself. But pretty much has been an overwhelming feeling for Taylor ever since that whole kiss happened. So another little piece of her will definitely keep hope alive in this situation, which, again, as I said in my previous video, she's being delusional, especially when it comes to waffling. I usually say Liam, but this time waffling Ridge. No wonder. So then, as they're talking, we see Finn come back from his doctor's appointment, and Steffy is worried that he's keeping something from her, even though he's saying everything went just fine. And pretty much Taylor is like, look, he said everything is fine. Let's not go looking for trouble. But he reassured her. So now we're back over to Brooke's place. And she can tell something is nagging and bothering Ridge and pushing. This is where we see her pushing him to open up. Now, the question is he going to eventually tell Brooke what's on his mind? Not in this episode. Ridge, I would think he could confess about the kiss and explain how he got all swept up in the moment with Taylor, but he doesn't. And since Ridge hasn't fully committed to Brooke at this point, honestly, this would be his opportunity to confess. And perhaps if they can maybe wipe the slate clean, because they've both been smooching other people. However, as we know, this is just a little too easy considering how this show characters usually behave. Secrets end up snowballing into something bigger that turn into a total disaster. It's pretty normal on this show. So Ridge, put his mood on to something else, and he continues to keep Brooke in the dark about all this. But as we all know, what's done in the dark always come to light. And as much as, she think everything is all good, you can tell there's a decision that Ridge is definitely going to have to make. So speaking of a little love in the afternoon, our first couple, Hope and Liam, figure that since the kids are away, this is prime opportunity to reconnect and show love for each other. And you know what? I honestly thought that this was a pretty good scene. I'm normally not excited about this couple. But the fact of the matter is that I think the last time we seen some loving on this show was actually with Carter and Quinn a couple of weeks ago. But, of course, it's nice to see these two finally reconnecting, because pretty much they haven't been doing too much on the show. But it was nice to see. And yeah, by the time that they were done, I see they sprayed a little bit of water on Liam's head to make it look like he was sweating and that she was exhausted. But all in all, I think it was a pretty cool scene. If you haven't seen it, because I know some of you guys watched the recap and not the show, I appreciate it. I will say it was a pretty romantic scene between Lope, but not as spicy as our other couple, which I'm most definitely going to talk about that next. But all in all, it's good to see that there is no triangle, especially since we've been stuck with this triangle between Steffy, Liam, and Hope since 2012, maybe 2008, I think. But it was good to see that's not the issue right now. So we have Brooke coming down. You think that she would at least give her daughter some time to spend with her husband. But, she come down to pay a visit about the fact that she need to let them know that everything in her head is all good between her and Ridge. Especially since Hope is still fussing about that whole photo. But at this point, Brooke is totally oblivious and just thinking that this is all about Monaco. It is about Monaco, but not what she thinks. So now, later on, after Finn, the doctor's appointment, and Taylor leaving, we all know that he hasn't seen his wife and she hasn't seen her husband in the greater of about 4 or 5 months since the whole shooting. And the thing is that as much as you can tell Steffy is ready to jump his bones, she also want to make sure that he is up for the task because he has been through a lot. The man was in a coma for a long period of time, ran all over Monaco, dealt with Sheila, whatever, and she want to make sure that are you all okay to let's get it in. And pretty much he was like everything is all good. And I'm telling you, I will say as much as I like the LOPE scene, I also like the SINN scenes. I mean, they reconnected in a very sizzling, intimate way. Very passionate night together, as they should. Amelia got the kids, and the way that they did it and how, I would say Steffy was talking to him. If I had to give a grade here, I would say I would give them a 10. And I would give Hope and Liam a 9. But, I mean, love is love, right? But I honestly think that it was a great scene. She did kind of got the shock factor of seeing what a bullet was at that area of his stomach. And, he was like, I'm fine. She got kind of derailed a little bit in that moment, but that didn't last too long at all because Finn was ready to reconnect with his wife and make up for lost time and vice versa. So I'll give all 4, those actors and actresses kudos for really giving us a double dose of love in the afternoon for both these couples. But I gotta say, to be honest, in my opinion, Steffy and Finn was the hottest couple today. I mean, hey, he lit the candles. They had the right music playing in the background. The way they acted it out, you would think that these two were actually married in real life, even though both of them have their own separate spouses and children and family. So they did a good job in acting this out. So it was good to see. Even the camera caught them grabbing and pulling the sheets and everything. Yeah, it was hot, I gotta say. So if you didn't see the episode and you want to go check it out, go check it out. If you need a little bit of a little something, to have your soap opera romance going on. And I mean, yeah, I didn't know how far they were going to go because she was, I'll just say, on top. So then Taylor sachets into Ridge's office after being pretty much kicked out of Steffy's house for their little tete-a-tete. And, Ridge is like, hey, well, what are you doing here? What's going on over at the house? Is it a big party or whatever? And, Taylor was like, her husband just came home and I think they need a little bit of private time to themselves. And, at first Ridge was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? But eventually he got it when she kind of used her fingers to describe, and his face was like, oh, that's what you're talking about. That was hilarious. But I was wondering if we were going to get another kiss here. I mean, we already got the whole fantasies of Monaco on the terrace and the beautiful backdrop. But you can tell that this woman is smizing, and if you just smizing with her eyes at Ridge, that it looked like as much as LOPE and SINN got it in, look like Taylor want the opportunity with Ridge. So we'll have to stay tuned to see exactly what happens. So there you have it, the bold and the beautiful recap for August 10th, 2022. Let me know your thoughts. Which was the hottest couple, SINN or LOPE? So if you haven't seen the Young and the Restless episode recap, it is already uploaded to this channel. And before you go, take a second to make sure you're subscribed to this channel and to receive all updates. And don't forget to like and share. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.